I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
If Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack. Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wanda! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. No, you won the fight.
OMG. I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? MCR family, a little post-fight show for you guys. We have two really good cards already in the day. It's 4 o'clock p.m. Pacific Coast time, Pacific Standard Time. What is that? 7 o'clock Eastern Time and 11 o'clock, or no, going on midnight, I think, actually, for you guys on the East Coast. I'm not East Coast, sorry, for you guys in the UK. So if you guys are joining us, hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Call in 323-870-4051. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Going to be talking both of these cards today and sort of breaking them down. Jelani Tete losing in dramatic upset fashion to John Rael Casimero. Plus, we had a sneakily good card with Alexander Besputin defeating Butaev, Cecilia Braekhus defending her undisputed claim to the women's welterweight division, plus a good little prospect fight with Joe Cordina versus Tinoco. So a lot of decent fights to debate or discuss with you guys. I'm writing solo dolo today. No Gary, no Rob, no Foo. Everyone's busy. I know. It's all right, guys. It's all right. I'm here. It's all right. Call in, like I said, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. International callers, Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. I see Santi's already in the queue. Santi, press 1 whenever you want to talk. But obviously, we're going to break down the fight sort of chronologically as best we can. And really, the Tete Casimero fight was the first one that happened out of anything. Like, it happened simultaneously with the Cordina Tinoco fight. So I'm going to break down Tete Casimero first. And that was a really, again, shocking upset, but not really. Casimero is one of those guys where he's always been sneakily talented, underrated, a guy that can hurt you, a guy that has power, a guy that knows who he is and how to really be more of an efficient fighter based off of his style. And Tete is always one of those guys that really is inconsistent with his outings, inconsistent with his fights. And maybe combine that with the year layoff and injury for Tete, that should have been probably more of a red flag going up against Casimero, who probably is more of a consistent fighter. He has just fought some of the best in the who's who in the last decade. And Tete is a guy that's sort of come into his own late, but then again, he still has had inconsistent performances within his run as of late. And Casimero was able to just land shots at will, was able to sort of easily slip out of off the center line, get close to Tete, and unload shots. And obviously, the first knockdown sort of sequence was a good highlight of what the entire fight looked like. Like Tete was just slow to the draw and everything. And Casimero easily stepped to the side off that center line, being the orthodox fighter fighting the southpaw. I think he feinted to the body and then doubled up on the right hooks up top to Tete and dropped him when he was, parallel with Tete. They're in front of each other, and all of a sudden, boom, Tete was to the side, landed those two hooks, dropped him. And you can tell Tete was just done. His equilibrium was shot. Even when he got back up, you could make a case, if that was an undercard fight and not the world champion about to lose, that the ref probably would have stopped it, to be honest. He did not look ready to go out there and get hit again. And he did, and got dropped again. and not really a clean knockdown, and just clearly was out of it, clearly was dazed. And Casimero is now, was it your WBO? I'm assuming it's WBO. Yeah, WBO bantamweight champion, and called out Nao Inoue right afterwards. And obviously that's a fantastic fight. On top of it, Joshua Greer Jr. called out Casimero as well. I would love that fight again as well. I think whatever pairing we have with these sort of top 4, top 5 of the division right now is decent. You know, we have Donaire sort of maybe headhunting, looking for big fights next. Tete obviously losing, probably going to take some tune-ups after this knockout. Ryan Burnett's retired. And at this point, we have Inoue as the kingpin. We have Manny Rodriguez, who was supposed to fight Neri. That didn't happen. Manny didn't accept the $100,000 check because of the whole 1 pound overweight factor that Neri did. And then on top of it, so those guys are seemingly out of the picture or don't have really the momentum for the top guys. Obali beat Takuma Inoue, and Inoue Obali makes a lot of sense, revenging his brother's loss. And then we have Greer and Casimero seemingly on friendly sides. I know Casimero's fought on the top-ranked cards a lot in his career, though he's more of just a Manny Pacquiao promotions fighter. And whatever pairing we have of those 4 guys, I'm down. If it's Inoue Greer, if it's Inoue Obali, Obali Greer, Casimero Inoue, Casimero Obali, whatever pairing we have, those are all great fights. And at this point in time, I think Casimero, because of his tenure, you can just sort of jumpstart him to one of those big fights. If it's Inoue, if it's Obali, if it's maybe more of a hometown, air quotes, fight on ESPN Plus with Joshua Greer, whatever it may be, I think clearly he is ready or not ready. He is just there at this point in time to take those big fights and I have this long, drawn-out run. There's no point in taking tune-ups, take those big fights. And plus, those are all fantastic fights. Inoue Casimero, I think, is an interesting inside fight. I mean, Casimero is a guy that, looking on to the Donaire-Inoue fight, could Casimero push Inoue back with pressure, push it back with combinations? I think he could. And that would be fascinating to see Inoue back on the back foot and being a boxer predominantly and having to be more of a tactician. We haven't seen that Inoue often. Seeing that against Casimero is probably going to happen, and I like to see more of the evolution to Inoue's boxing game there. But regardless, fantastic fight, fantastic upset performance from Casimero. Really showed that, hey, old dogs can still learn new tricks. On top of that, old dogs can still beat up a lot of these hype jobs, and Tete was a little bit overrated, let's be honest here. Moving on, I didn't watch most of the undercard, though what was it? I think it was the Sam Bowen and Anthony Kasakis fight. That looked like it was a fun fight, but I didn't watch it intently, to be quite honest. But I'm going to go back and watch the rest of the undercard. Moving on to the DAZN card, Matchroom Boxing, Eddie Hearns card, Alexander Besputin defeating Razvad Butaev, and it was really a fascinating performance from Besputin against Butaev because it, similar to other fights we've had this year, like Kovalev, Canelo, even in a sense like Kovalev Yard, where it was one guy clearly having the size advantage, clearly having the reach advantage, and walking down his opponent and picking his shots, getting outboxed in a way, and clearly having the bigger effect on his shots. Like, clearly Butaev's shots were more damaging, pound for pound, shot per shot than Besputin. But in each case, obviously, with those ones I just mentioned, all those fights I mentioned, we saw different outcomes. Canelo being the guy that was stalking down the bigger opponent, looking for that just single shot, looking to set that big shot up. He landed it and got the knockout. Yard, same thing, marching down the bigger fighter and looking for that knockout, not really landing it. And then with this one, Butaev being the bigger fighter, marching down Besputin, looking to set up that knockout, never got it though. And Besputin just never stopped in terms of that just gas tank and his cardio and just his output, continually slipping shots, continually setting up combinations. I mean, it was just really impressive from Besputin. I didn't expect he had that gear in him to, when the going got tough, and Butaev, especially I think it was in the 5th round or so, was really starting to land significant shots. He was able to sort of regroup and get back to his game plan and found success over and over again. And there's only a couple moments where Butaev was able to sort of get momentum going with his offense and was able to stop Besputin's movement. I think it was in the 9th or 10th round. There was that moment where they both really exchanged against the ropes, and it looked like Besputin was significantly hurt, to be honest. And then again in the 5th round, where Besputin sort of engaged more on the inside and stopped moving as much. I will say this, though. Besputin, I think, could have had an easier going by shortening up the combinations from 4 or 5 punch combinations to more 3-punch combinations and throwing them more often. There was times where Besputin would get on the outside and really, through lateral movement, get the right angle on Butaev, but wouldn't fire when he could have. And Butaev was able to sort of realign his position, keep marching forward, keep pressuring Besputin. And there's moments where Besputin was moving more than countering, and that was an issue. And same with Butaev. Butaev's, I think, main fault here was, because even though I think he could have cut off the ring better, that wasn't necessarily the issue. I don't think he was chasing down Besputin too much. I think he just clearly wasn't throwing enough. He clearly was in position, just from a range perspective, to throw shots at Besputin, and he didn't. And there was times where he needed to upset the in and out movement of Besputin, upset those combinations from Besputin with counters, and he just didn't. He was gun shy. And Butaev would really only wait for Besputin to stop, get stuck on the ropes, to stop throwing, and then he would throw a single shot, maybe a 2-piece, and that was largely it. And that hurt him significantly, because he was within range to throw shots, and he just didn't. He shelled up. And Besputin was allowed, in large aspect, to be in and out, laterally move around him and just continually pepper him with shots and with the jab and with really good body shots too. And Butaev just ate it and never fired back in those mid-combination moments where he could have. And if he goes back and watches the tape, he could probably easily see those moments where, Besputin jumped in here and I could counter him mid-combination. I didn't. I let him off easy. He circled out, could come with the left hook, didn't, let him off easy again. And just looking at that, drilling it in camp for his next training camp, he should probably fix that issue. Though I will say this, Butaev was not happy post-fight, man. A little headbutt, almost a little bit of post-fight, issue, altercation, so to speak. I will say this, how was there no security? Like, nobody jumped in to separate them except for the coaches and the trainers and the ref. Oof, that could have got really bad. Thank God it didn't. But Besputin really showed levels and gears in this fight that I did not expect him to have. Showed a cardio tank that I did not expect him to have. And called out Terence Crawford next. It's not an awful fight. It's just not the best fight in the world. It's Terence Crawford fighting a top 20 welterweight that is still largely unproven against the top level. I think there are still tests for Besputin to have before he fights the top 5 guys in the world. And even though I think it's largely a better fight than Kavaliauskas, his mandatory coming up in just 2 weeks, it's not a significantly better fight. It's a marginally better fight than that. And I would rather see a prospect like Besputin take maybe like a Josito Lopez type fight, a Thomas Delorme, somebody that's been experienced, that has fought the best of the world, that may not beat the best of the world, but they give them tough fights and tough goings. And I want to see Besputin fight that level of opposition before he fights world champion and pound-for-pound level fighters like Terence Crawford. I just don't think it would go well. There's still a lot of holes in Besputin's game, a lot of issues, even within this great performance that he had. He moved far more than he needed to. The unnecessary movement will affect him in certain fights just because he's opening himself up to certain counters. And while Butaev wasn't able to really capitalize on those opportunities and those moments, Crawford will. And I think while this was a great fight, largely speaking, for two undefeated prospects. It was really an enlightening performance from Alexander Besputin. It was still a performance that showed us he's still a prospect working up the ranking. And jumping him up against a pound-for-pound level opponent like Terence Crawford just seems like a bridge too far, in my opinion. Moving on, though, Cecilia Braekhus defeating Victoria Bustos in really dominant fashion. I mean, I really couldn't give a round to Bustos. I thought Braekhus was landing heavy shots throughout, and the fight just felt too short because, again, the 2-minute round aspect where a women's title fight is 20 minutes of action and a men's title fight is almost double that at 36 minutes of action. This fight felt like it, where if there was that extra minute and she, had an extra 16 minutes total in the fight, she probably would have got Bustos out of there just from accumulation. But Braekhus, again, just a dominant boxer, showed that she was levels above her opponents at this point in time. And setting up possibly the Katie Taylor fight. That's the one they talked about the most on the broadcast team. The most from just overall fight week was Katie Taylor next. Obviously, Braekhus mentioned that, and we mentioned it in our last show yesterday. That's what Braekhus wants. I think it makes sense. I think it's a UK pay-per-view. I think it does significantly well in the UK market, and it's a really good fight. I think Taylor perhaps loses that fight, but it's a fantastic matchup, and it's one of the most decorated amateur boxers of all time against probably the most decorated professional boxer of all time. And what's not to love about that pairing and that matchup? Let's be honest about it. But Braekhus, again, just too technical, too skilled, landing that right hand over and over again on Bustos. It was just dominance from round to round to round. Joe Cordina fighting Mario Enrique Tinoco, who obviously just went on, or who just fought Jordan Gill. Or actually fought him just a couple fights ago. Fought him 2 fights ago. And he had another fight in Tijuana that was a no contest due to an accidental headbutt in between the Jordan Gill fight, just to let people know. It was obviously not televised. But I will say this. Or was it televised? Was that one of like those DAZN matchroom like Mexico cards they've been having? Let me check. Just want to remind myself. No, it's not. It was not televised. But digressing. This wasn't... I want to go back and really score this fight, because I did not score this fight yet, to be honest. And I do think there may be an argument for like a draw, or maybe even a slight Tinoco win. But Cordina, one thing I will say, his willingness to engage on the inside, try to be the bigger man, and force Tinoco backwards in the second half of the fight was admirable, was definitely respectable. And I thought he had a lot of success doing that when that's not really his style or natural game plan that he has put out there in fights. Like, that's just not him. He had a lot of pressure put on him in the first half of this fight. I thought he countered quite well, to be honest. But then for some reason, I think gave up that game plan and decided to, I'm going to meet Tinoco here in the trenches. I'm going to force him back, and I'm going to be the bigger man because I'm just the guy that moved down a weight class. So I'm the bigger guy. I'm going to force you to go backwards. And he largely had success doing that, though it made the fight far harder, far more competitive than I think it needed to. I think if Cordina stuck to that, that style that he usually has, that counterboxing style, I think he would have eventually separated himself from Tinoco as the fight wore on more. Instead of having to go through a dogfight that maybe he didn't need to, but perhaps Tinoco just forced that on him. That is a possibility. Tinoco is a tough, durable fighter. I mean, definitely in that Andrew Cancio mold of just blue-collar style Mexican-American or Mexican fighter, and a tough out for any of these prospects and any of these guys that maybe has too much hype about them. A la Machado, a la Joe Cordina, or Jordan Gill before Cordina. But, excuse me, I thought Cordina, again, watching it live, I thought he won it. I didn't score it, but I want to go back and score. I thought it was a very close competitive fight that maybe the broadcast team was not accurately reflecting how competitive it was. Joe Cordina, though, definitely, I thought, met this test, met this experience sort of point in his career, and maybe not passed with flying colors, but passed. You know, like I said, it's admirable to go in there with a guy that is the aggressive, come forward, combination fighter like Tinoco, and decide, you know what, I'm going to not be the counter boxer. I'm going to engage with him on the inside, and I'm going to push him back. Props to him for that. Really impressive performance from Joe Cordina. What else was on this card? Oh, that's right. Let me go back to it. The Willie Zhang fight against Andrea Rudeneko. Zhang is a fighter that he's in that Wanaki, Gerald Miller mold where their styles and their just overall combination work is going to make them proficient enough to beat a lot of guys in the heavyweight division. Is it enough to beat the top 15 guys, top 10 guys? I don't know at this point in time, to be quite honest. And Zhang is a guy that I think needs to step up. He definitely is talented. Definitely, I thought his shot selection accuracy was on point. And his cardio, while it definitely waned in the later rounds, was pretty decent for a heavyweight. Let's be honest about it. Definitely, overall, a really good night of fights so far, or day of fights so far, as it's, you know, still the daytime here in the U.S. We have the top-ranked card later today. Guys, call in 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. Santiago, let me know if you want to talk. My press 1. Quickly casual base guy saying, damn, I just watched the Tete vid. Casimero, damn. RC saying Casimero. Hey, bro. Saying Casimero again. Yes. Casimero was absolutely impressive. If you want to see my thoughts on that, I covered that first up in the show. Rubisky in the chat saying, Matt, what's up, brother? What up, Rubisky, Dwayne, Team Batman Box. Hope everyone's having a great day, great night, wherever you are watching these sort of hardcore fights. But I think that's going to be it for today, guys. Just a little quick post-fight show. Everyone, again, is enjoying the fights, enjoying your weekend already. It's Saturday. Not a lot of big fights, but hey, these are some good fights. And if you haven't seen them yet, and if you're watching this video and you haven't watched the fights, go watch the fights. The Casimero Tete fight's like 3 rounds. Definitely go back and watch the Besputin Butaev fight. That's a fantastic fight, especially for 2 undefeated prospects. And the Cordina Tinoco fight. 2 fights of, you know, prospects being featured that were great matchups and great matchmaking. Really want to highlight that. Hope everyone has a fantastic day, night, evening, wherever you are. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio, and have a good day. I think no show tomorrow, guys. By the way, no show tomorrow. Peace.